If you haven't been paying attention, you've missed something that's been taking place structurally in the U.S. economy. And that's the change to part-time work that's become so prevalent. You see, if you take a look at the recovery, and I want to be clear, this isn't a criticism of government policy or anyone politically. This is just an observation about how business has learned to cope with, number one, the opportunities caused by the change technology or the changes in technology, and number two, well, they just don't see the value in hiring full-time workers anymore. So what's been happening more and more frequently is that companies are hiring part-time workers. Now, and that's in the government statistics. Now, some of it gets buried in this notion of the U6 report, where the statistic basically talks about people who are working part-time who would like to work full-time. I question that a little bit now. And what I'm seeing is part-time can be broken up into two categories. One is part-time workers. And the second one is the new gig economy, free agents, freelancers, people who are working whatever hours they need to in order to do a particular task. Now, some of those can fall into the category of virtual assistants. Some might be web designers who are working on an individual project, writers, editors, a whole host of people, recruiters, coaches, people who are working basically to do specific functions for particular people. They're not working 40-hour work weeks. Some are working less, some are working more, some may work 40 hours. But they're self-employed individuals who are part of this new gig economy. Now, what I expect is going to be happening with the next downturn is this is going to be ingrained in the culture and ingrained in the society and the economy that much more. So, if you think about it, if you're a business right now, you have a headquarters building, you have buildings around the world where you're employing people and you're paying benefits, you're paying for that building, for air conditioning and heat, for phone lines, for computer systems, and a whole host of other things. When you really may need these people a limited number of hours a day, a week, a month, or a year. So more and more firms, and these can be small firms and these can be large firms, are starting to look at contractors, gig workers, people who are hired to do a particular task. And to do it, be paid and move on. Now, you may complain, oh, it's these people in India again, or China, or wherever. But I'll give myself as an example. As I work on launching a new website, JobSearchCoachingHQ.com, I started looking at having some videos edited. And the cost of doing video editing in the U.S. was more than 10 times the cost of outsourcing it abroad. What would you do? You're already buying clothes that are made elsewhere. Don't criticize me. You're doing the same thing, except you're doing it with your clothes, your food, and a whole host of other things. So that's the trend I see really getting ingrained. Now, how does this affect you? Well, I want you to start thinking about things that you can do on the side, or things that are part of your knowledge base that you could break apart that would create income for you in case the next recession, in case the next economic catastrophe affects you. And to start now. Now, you can do research on sites like Freelancer or Upwork. Upwork is the successor company to Elance and Odesk, and any number of other sites where there's information and experiences with gig workers. But think of it from the standpoint of what special skills do you have that if you were marketing yourself and your knowledge, how you would sell yourself on a contract basis. So, for example, you're an accountant, you do tax returns. You're an engineer, you might do design work for different people. You're a programmer, you might write specifications or design documents. What is it that you do that can be broken apart into component parts and market it. Now, go to these sites and just do it from the standpoint of research. Take a little time to proactively think, but don't delay starting because gigs are going to be much more the norm in the future. Now, when I look at myself and the work that recruiters are doing, I'm seeing more and more firms hiring contract recruiters. I'm seeing sites that basically are paying for hourly work from recruiters. So, for example, there's one site that I've seen where a recruiter sets their price. And I've seen as low as $25 an hour from the U.S. For recruiting work, and they're not paid a fee at the back end. They're basically hired to source and find and refer. Period. It's happening everywhere, folks, and you need to be ready for it. If you're an administrative assistant, obviously you can wind up doing virtual assistant work. Start thinking ahead. Start laying the foundation where you can be doing work for others on a part-time basis now, so that if the economy craters, if a recession hits, if you lose your job, you've got financial wherewithal to last until you find your next job, which may take longer than you think. Hope you found this helpful. Hope it's been provocative, and hope you have a great day. Take care.